Welcome to Seekers of Sarmanath, everyone. I apologize for the late start. We had some technical difficulties, but we are back. How are you all doing? I know we've bantered for a good long time, but it's been a couple weeks since the show proper. What have you been up to? It's been a hot minute.
I had like my spring break, and I got some gaming done so I could come back and be ready to do work. And then the work was miserable, so I bought Sekiro as like a reward for this past week, and that game's been awesome. It's kicking my ass thoroughly, but it's been awesome.
That kind of Dark Soulsy.
It's very different, which I appreciate, but it's by the same company, and you definitely see the roots in there.
I was going to say, getting Dark Souls is a reward to yourself for something. It's a special kind of punishment.
It's much harder, actually.
Is it a stealth game? I've been told.
There are stealth mechanics, and it's really cool because it's not like you'll go through the whole thing in stealth, but you could charge in, or you can stealth around and like thin out the numbers a little bit before you get into the fight.
Interesting.
And the way that it works, you can do it on bosses too. And the way it works is you do death blows when you weaken someone. And bosses just have like pips of health, so you have to death blow them multiple times.
Nice.
But if you sneak up on a boss, you can just take out a pip of health right away and like weaken the boss substantially.
Wow.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah. Also, I'm not like much of an emotive person when I play games solo. If I'm saying something, I probably just like got salty and started bitching at it. But there's this one bit where there's like a giant snake, like hundreds of feet long, and you do a stealth section where you're going through a ravine trying to like sneak past it. And they're really mean about it because you'll successfully sneak past a part and get into a cave, and you're like, haha, I did it. And then there's like a loud noise of it slamming into the cavern behind you, and you're like, oh shit, and you just start running away. And like it's one of those rare moments where I've gotten a game to make me go like, and like loud noises. But I'm just playing a game alone in my room.
I can imagine that game would make me say all kinds of terrible things.
Yeah.
Because I'm the type of person that
stream that, Greg. You should stream.
I should stream it.
I think you did that with Bloodborne already.
I did. Bloodborne. I'm glad those VODs are gone. Maybe we'll give it a try.
More or less salty than the last Hollow Knight stream where you
more,
4 hours
much more. Much more.
Frank playing Bloodborne? Oh my god.
Dan knows. Dan and I had drinks once and tried to play Dark Souls, and that was an experience.
That wasn't while we were living together,
no.
was it? I don't remember.
No, that was back when I was living on my own.
I feel like I would remember Bloodborne from our cohabitation.
I did have a moment that made me think of you, though, Mike, because I was playing Final Fantasy X, and I realized that Donna has, like, a shoelace wrapped around her for no fucking reason. It's just a big shoelace. It doesn't hold up her dress. It's just a decorative shoelace. And it reminded me of the time that I was yelling about Riku's shoes being on backwards, and you coming in like, this is the weirdest thing you've ever done.
Yeah.
It made me think of you, anyway.
There were definitely some moments where I like had to walk into your room and see what was happening because the audio coming from you with no other context just made no sense. I remember a lot of stuff about Cat Mom.
Yep. All right, Faye. It's been a couple weeks since we talked with you. What have you been up to?
Yeah. Not too much. Sean infected me, so I played some Pillars of Eternity, which I can greatly recommend. That I haven't made it through the entire story, but it is good fun. I bought like the White Marches expansions, which I didn't have that before. Other than that, lots of other D&D stuff.
Yeah.
I've been also sick for 2 weeks, which is great. I still occasionally cough and forget to mute myself. I apologize in advance.
Just make sure that you always forget to mute yourself before you yawn, because that was the best. That was the best. I wish I could clip that still and send it to you.
Oh, yeah. Well.
Alrighty. Well, thank you for being with us, even though you're still a little sick.
I was also like, my alarm just went off because we haven't had daylight savings yet, and I thought we were going to play it like an hour later than we actually were. So I was like getting up from my nap. I was like, oh, I saw the Zoom link. I was like, oh shit.
Well, you did good to get up from your nap, because I would not have. Dan, I owe you dinner, it seems. Our bet has come to fruition. My Spurs are going to make the playoffs. Where are we eating?
Oh,
where am I taking you?
I gotta decide. They haven't made the playoffs yet.
I mean, Okay.
I haven't decided yet. I haven't decided.
Right. Other than winning bets with me live on camera, what else have you been doing?
It's art. So I've been watching college basketball.
Yeah.
Conference tournaments. Made the big dance. We won a game. Hopefully we'll win tomorrow.
Who did they draw? I forget who their second round is.
They have Irvine because they was
Irvine. That's right. Yeah,
But,
Ducks are crushing them.
Dan, you're a little quiet. I don't know.
Did I get quiet on you? Is that
I
better?
guess you could just talk louder too. That would work too.
Or you can eat your mic. I mean, that's okay.
Yeah, I'll
Just like make some nice chewing noises.
Maybe it's what I think.
Compared to the rest of us, you sound pretty quiet. I know people have grumbled about that before. Usually with Millman and his vape.
All right.
Alright, I'll just try to yell at you guys.
Perfect. I'm always yelling, so that'll match us well. I'm actually never yelling, but like I guess I'm loud.
One of Greg's neighbors just heard him say that and was like,
Alrighty, y'all ready to get into game here? Is it time to bring us back in? Do any of you even remember what was going on 2 weeks ago?
Somebody
We were in
took
the
the
cave of
dodge
sadness
and
everywhere.
died.
My notes are impeccable.
Your notes are impeccable. Ooh, note game strong.
I bought a notebook for this game. I've yet to write anything in it.
Wow.
I do that a lot. I don't even do that as a GM very well. Like I'll
Yeah.
forget to take my notes.
I do take
like-
notes. I do take notes as a DM, but yeah, I bought a notebook for this after the first session with the intention of I'll rewatch the first session and I'll take notes and then I'll just keep up to date on them. And now we're 8 sessions in and I haven't written one note. And I keep thinking like, oh, I'll just rewatch that. No, I
right.
doubt that.
So, as recap for you non-note takers, you...
Hey, I have 20 pages of notes, okay? So
Whoa!
All right, I
20
never did.
pages.
That's
Show
cool. I learned
off.
I did well anyway.
I have big handwriting though if I just scribble, so don't worry about it.
You all began last session having rested in Sarmanath and gotten a new quest for the druids to clear out some elementals that had been bothering people in the Amber Peaks. You set off with very little plan, just to, wander around the Amber Peaks some and hope to find some elementals, but what luck, early in your day you stumble across a scene of these large earthen rock-like creatures attacking a fellow druid on his way to the pilgrimage. After having seen him knocked out, a pitched battle ensues, including an avalanche that buries some of our party members in it. But fortunately, you were able to prevail with some good tactics and some magical weaponry, and you destroyed the creatures and got your friends out of the avalanche. You were given some good berries and some well wishes from the druid, who was sent on his way back up the Amber Peak to join the coming druid ritual. There was a small cave that you saw the elementals had kind of burrowed their way out of, and decided that perhaps this was a good avenue to explore as you made your way inside the dark, foul-smelling cave. You found it full of strange elementals coming out of the ground, chewing through the rocks. You found oozes eating their way through, leaving fumes through the air. As you slowly worked your way through here, you found a magic circle that seems to be drawing in power and slowly forming an elemental. And so you wisely decided, we'll leave that for later, and left, and wandered back through the cave, killing what you could, until you came across a small corner where the gibbering, unreal, ethereal sounds of another world met your ears, drove some of your party members mad, and you found at the center of it a creature unlike any you've ever seen, all tendrils of flesh and mouth and teeth, never-ending yammering. But it seemed to be protecting some kind of treasure in the background. The 5 of you leapt upon it, attacking for all you were worth, and felling the creature, but not before Villith sadly was slain by poor decision-making process. And a particularly high dice roll. You looted the treasure very briefly before coming to an end, and now we kind of come back into game. The 4 of you, or 4 of you still, although Millman is not here, survivors of the combat, standing over this mound of now silent, fleshy mouths and tendrils, with treasure in hand and a fallen comrade by your side.
I want to say, for the record, I object to the phrase "poor decision-making process."
I'm the GM. I get to write the history books.
Thank you very much. They killed me.
I don't remember if we did this last week or not, but if we didn't, I have in my notes that Vilith has 2 of those small onyx gemstones,
Yes.
so we should probably get those off of.
Yeah, I think we're gonna loot all of Villa's body. Right.
Yeah, so I'll go and just kind of remove that real fast.
Janlar can't carry anything else though. So.
Yeah, it'll probably be like Sambar who takes it all back to town.
Sure, yeah. Sambar, the man beast, will happily carry all of your burdens. He seems a little bit awestruck by this whole process, and will seem to kind of stick to the background for now.
All right. And do we want to go back and deal with that apparent creator of element?
Well, we could. I'd like to take a rest first. I have nothing. I have used everything. All of my resources are expended. I'm exhausted. I'm beaten up. I'd like to go crawl into my sleeping bag of healing. And
Should we take a look at this mining? There was like a mining shaft or something, right, in the cave?
There is a shaft
Just
down
like
by
go-
the circle
Yeah,
that you saw.
like-
that was where the elemental thing was, though,
That's
right?
next to the elemental, yeah.
Yeah. Should we rest up first to make sure we're all in fighting shape?
We can. I was just like, if you wanted to rest, I didn't want to get surprised, but we can just rest up first in case something comes out of it.
Vilith abstains from voting on what we do next.
She's awfully quiet today.
Good decision.
Yeah, that's fine. We can just
So, are you taking a short rest, or are you going to try to set up like some sleeping bags and bunker down in the dark
I would say
cave?
short rest. Janlar's pretty good.
All right, you kind of took a short rest already, but it seems reasonable to me that you can take your breath here. You once again break out. You once again break out the medicine, the kits and food. You spend 10 to 15 minutes getting yourselves ready to go. You can spend any hit die that you need for healing that you have left to spend, and get the benefits of a short rest over the next 10 to 15 minutes. The cave remains dark and quiet. You begin to hear kind of a dripping and dropping of water as the cave begins to become moist, right, as it rushes through, almost as if all at once maybe rain or some underground river has come through. But as this 10 to 15 minutes happens, you begin to feel the humidity rise around you.
All right. Should we just start heading down then to the...
Yeah, I expend a hit die really fast.
Excellent.
I don't know if I'm in order 20. All right, okay.
I assume I had the hit die to spend. It says I have 2 on my sheet. I trust.
Do we trust your note taking, huh? After 2 weeks, yeah. If you have it on your sheet,
I had 2 and not 3, which makes me think I was decrementing the value. So
excellent.
I think we're okay.
Excellent. Yeah, I think you're fine. If it's on your sheet, it's on your sheet.
Yeah.
Are we using this
like-
map to travel through this dungeon again?
If you would like to, yes. Yes. We could just take you back down to the bottom corner if you'd like.
I was just
Is that
saying
where
we
you're
take-
heading? Like you
Yeah,
guys,
we're
you all know to stay away from the slimes unless you want to investigate them. You can stay out of their 15-foot radius except for short, intermittent like processes. You can come down here to the corner whenever you're ready, if that's indeed where you're going.
Yeah, let's do it. I think we should probably just get this taken care of, right?
Yeah,
Leave this overnight.
I agree. If it continues to create elementals, we don't want it to just, reform the whole defenses in here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Go ahead and take yourselves down then. You pick up yourselves and begin walking through this dark and now dripping cave. You can feel the air is tense, right? You have a fallen comrade. You know that there are strong things here, but you make your way slowly through the cave. As you approach the circle, Janlar, you see that inside the circle, there's the growing stone that had been working over some period of time is larger now. And it seems to be about half of the way through, creating a very familiar foe. You see this thing trapped inside the circle as stone and sand and water now from the dripping begins seeping into the swirling magic in here. It still seems bound and held inside this circle and is only about half formed. But you see it taking the shape of this mighty creature.
Well, I don't have the power to dispel any of this magic, and we tried disrupting the runes earlier today, and we're unsuccessful.
Let the record show you did not try disrupting the runes. You
Yeah,
rolled
could we not just, like...
and did nothing.
Oh, I thought you said they were like kind of magical.
They are.
I'll move up a little bit. Do they look like they're chalk on the ground or something? Can I just like run my foot over them to break the runes?
No, they are not chalk runes. They seem to be made of like magic themselves.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So it's
they burn with magical energy on the ground, like on the rocks themselves.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if I could drop a spell into that. So you mentioned that our marks like give us feedback when we're near rift magic. Is this the thing that's giving us like the big bit of feedback?
Yes. As you approach this, you definitely are feeling the most burning from your mark. You've felt the mark burn the entire time you're in this cave as your proximity to this has increased. But as you stand now a mere few feet from it, you feel that burning more in its entirety. Right. This is as intense as it was when it was first marked upon your skin.
Should we try using something at range? Could we just shoot it from here?
You mean the creature or the circle?
The creature. I mean, is it vulnerable? Could we injure it?
I think I could injure it with a spell.
Do you want to give it a shot?
Yeah, I just ask everyone to stand back and cover their ears again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And we all back off, and I cast Shatter.
Ooh, okay. You incant your shatter and cast it into the center of this circle. Please roll me a D100. As your magic begins to interact, the circle around it flares up in a blue light, engulfing the cave entrance around you. As your magic begins to mix with it, and that is a very remarkable result. Your magic mixes with this light, and you see the magic shimmer and accept your shatter inside of it. The pieces of the creature erupt apart, spinning into multiple pieces of pebbles and sand, and they begin to swirl around in a vortex around the creature before finally dissipating. And now we just have, once again, the glowing circle inside the cave with no creature inside of it.
Did we ever get like a 101 course on how to disrupt rift magic?
Sure. When did you learn how to disrupt rift magic?
Well, I mean, we learned from the Seekers, right?
Yeah.
We went through trials with them.
Yeah.
Was there any point where they like talked about the fundamentals of rift magic and how you can maybe like get rid of it?
No, it's less of a go to class type of situation and more of a learn how to do experience on your own. Right, this is a OJT training type of situation, and you get the impression from your many times with the Seekers that rift magic is not universal, right? It's rift magic in that it comes from another world, but depending on which world it comes from, it may interact differently or behave differently. While you're thinking back through your history here, give me a history check to see what if you know any secrets about this type of situation. See if someone in your arcanic training has given you more information.
Sure. No, probably not.
Not so much, no. You know basically just that rift magic comes in very many forms, depending on what rift it's from, right? And it's old and ancient and could interact in a wildly different array of outcomes depending on what you do to it. There are stories of people that have contained it in the past or have eliminated it entirely, but no one has seen an active rift in over 1,000 years, so there's very little active study on anything that's not some kind of ancient relic from another time.
Janlar, do you think there's a way you could destroy this circle? I imagine if we don't get rid of it, it'll probably just keep forming this elemental.
Yeah, do I see more water dripping down, like, off the ceiling still?
Yes. So the cave has become like inundated a little bit with water. You hear drips and drops everywhere. There are many cracks in the ceiling with water coming down in different places, mixing with the kind of rocky dust on the floor in a kind of a muddy way. It's not like pure rain. It's a very slow process. You know, you're getting a drip here or there, but it's definitely still coming down.
I mean, like in the circles, like before it was like like the rocks were like dripping off the ceiling into the circle. They're continuing to do that.
There's a pull, right? It almost seems to you like the circle itself is pulling from the area around it, and it's slowly drawing in materials.
I say, well, I don't have any more powerful magics than the one I just used, so if that can't shatter the circle, then I'll need to learn more, or either other than that we can possibly try to physically disrupt the runes. I take out my quarterstaff and can I like swing it through like the magical runes? Does it do anything?
You're gonna attempt to strike at the runes.
Yeah.
Okay. You swing your quarterstaff at the magical runes. Please make a roll to hit. Ooh, 17. Your staff strikes true, and once again, the runes flare up, and the blue magic engulfs. As you strike the runes, you feel a crackling and a surge of magical energy from the runes, but you manage to slam down onto the runic circle itself, and you see it and feel it kind of ripple as you do this. Please roll a amount of damage for me that the circle has taken.
The golem building rune just turns Janlar inside out, pulls him into the middle, and makes him a flesh golem.
Excellent. You see like impact marks in the runes where your staff swung through and struck. The whole thing ripples, and you definitely see tears in the fabric of the runes. And these tears kind of rip their way into this vortex. It seems to be unstable now as it rips and pulls. You feel the air around you being pulled in towards this thing now as you have destabilized the ring of force around it. It's not strong enough to pull you in, but all of you kind of feel this like pull in towards the circle now as it ripples unstably in front of you.
Well, before we finish up here, should we investigate that mine shaft a little bit?
You wanna?
I have the feeling we're gonna make a swift exit after we break this thing.
Do you want to drop a light in there?
Sure, and I'll cast a light on some loose stone, and I'll drop it down this mine shaft to see how far it goes.
All right. You cast a light on a stone, and you cast it down the mine shaft. It falls and falls and falls. How far do you see light as it goes down? You see it drop down to the very bottom. You would estimate as it falls somewhere in the vicinity of 250 feet. Before you hear it clatter as if against a stone floor at the bottom.
And is there like a stable route to climb down, or is it one of those things where we need rope for it?
It seems like you would probably want rope. It's a sheer shaft that seems to have been carved vertically downward. You do see towards the bottom the light kind of expanded out into a room area, but it was far enough down by the time you saw it expand. There wasn't a lot of detail you could glimpse other than the widening of the shaft towards the bottom.
Unless we have hundreds of feet of rope on us, I think we're going to have to come back at a later time.
Unfortunately, I can't change my shape anymore today. I could have spider down there, I think.
I suppose we should just break the circle and run away.
Yeah, I have no ways to get down the shaft. So yeah. Why don't you try swinging at it?
Sure, and I'll pull out the mace and kind of like make a nice long distance, just thwack on the ground.
All right, yeah. So make an attack roll. It is AC 15 to overcome the shielding of the magical ward and strike the runes themselves.
Nope.
So your mace strikes the magical wall that flares up around this and is repelled backwards. You are unable to overcome the magical warding around it. If you wish to spend like a period of time, just the three of you thwacking
I think we're just gonna whack at it
magical circle to death. All right,
and then once it breaks, if it like starts doing the suck pretty hard, we're gonna.
All right. The three of you encircle the magical circle with your weapons in hand and begin the process of just beating this thing. Occasionally getting repelled, sometimes breaking through. Each time you strike the runes, ripples whirl through them, and the magic becomes more and more unstable. Finally, Janlar makes a mighty blow with his quarterstaff, ripping through the fabric of the runes entirely. You see the magic begin to wink out in like a coordinated pattern across the magical circle. The whole vortex inside of it flashes and begins to come apart, violently tearing magical energies through the cave system, flinging the debris that it had drawn into itself across. Everyone, please make a dexterity saving throw to avoid the ripping magics in stone as they are cast through the...
I mean, they're all coming to the circle, right?
Well, now that you've broken it, it is casting it out. It is flinging it out around it where you have encircled it.
Oh, it's coming outward. Okay.
Yes.
Sambar far enough back that he doesn't need to make it?
Sambar has not joined you in this. He's holding all of your pack in the back.
I think he's holding Villa's body, too.
He's holding all of your stuff far away from the circle. Alrighty, so with a 12 or better, you take half damage as you shield yourself from the ripping magics.
Could I argue something here?
Yes.
I was gonna ask, but I kind of want to just move along with it. Could I do a Constitution save instead? Because I have a shield, right? Could it be more like
You're
I'm
just gonna
trying to
bulwark against it?
Yeah, bulwark against it.
Yes.
Because I'm not really the kind of person to go diving around. I'm in armor.
Yeah. You just wanna like shield yourself. I think it's gonna be a more difficult save. But you could definitely make a Constitution save. Instead of a DC 12, I'm gonna just call it a DC 14 to just like withstand the magic.
That's a worse chance, but actually no. Let's just use the same roll at that point. So I'd still fail at that point.
Okay.
Because I rolled an 11.
All right. So fortunately for you, Janlar has ripped apart the creature inside, and you only take 1 point of damage on a failed save, or 1 point of damage on a successful save.
I hadn't seen the roll, and for a second I thought maybe you just one-shot the two of us. Like, what? Is this good or bad? Oh, no, I can't trust Greg with this one.
Yeah, and with that, the ripping of the void kind of ceases. A stillness once again permeates through the cave. The heat of your mark vanishes as you are now left alone in a cave with some slimes.
Excellent. Do you want to just mark this on our map and come back later with a lot more rope, and we can take a look at that mine shaft sometime when we happen to be in the area?
Sure.
I agree.
What do you think would have happened if we touched that circle?
We would have become the stone golem.
Stone golems are pretty strong, you know.
They're not very smart, though. At least so I've heard. Anyways, we have a ritual to get into, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're under time pressure. I think we still have a little while, but we need to report back to the druids anyways, right?
Report to the...
I think the Seekers pay us. They're the proxy, so we'll have to go back to Sarmanath.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We got
we
our
did the
question.
job.
I'm still not quite sure how these things work, you know.
Yeah, I think they pay the Seekers in advance, and then the Seekers hold on to the payment to give to us.
Are we going to get stones again?
No, I think we're going to get druid stuff, seeds. I think it was.
They told us magical rations. Or enchanted
Seeds.
rations.
Okay.
Yeah, limbus bread.
Yeah, so I guess we loot Villa's body and
We take her with us?
Sandbar's just holding Villith like far away from you all, along with like all your new loot. And Chandler, you just come up, you're like, well, time to start going through her.
Yeah, no, I saw
Sandbar's just horrified.
in Janlar's head, she kind of owed him 100 gold pieces. Wasn't
Oh, wow, that's right.
I mean, like, to be fair, I think I made this joke last time, but I'm pretty sure we'll make more money from getting characters killed than we will from getting quest rewards.
And if I see the hair and the horn, I think I'm gonna take like one of Villa's like.
One and the wing, right?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna cut off one of Villa's like tiefling.
Yeah, you guys.
Like
What is this weird
old
college
characters.
where you collect body
Sandbar
parts?
like looks on in horror as you begin looting the body, and then you like take your dagger out to start cutting off the horn, and Sandbar just like drops the body and like walks away on his deer legs. You can just hear him mumbling something about, oh, these Seekers are different than I thought they'd be.
Ooh, they have a good berry on them. I'll take that good berry and go back up to max health.
My thing is, I don't want someone to come looking for Villith and us not be able to tell him, yeah, he's dead. We have his horn.
She's dead.
She. Yeah, you're right. My bad.
Did somebody take the 20 GP?
I can't carry it. So.
I'll take the 20 GP.
Just take them.
Janlar, do you want the bloodletting dagger? Seems like you might be. You're not really the martial melee sort of person, are you?
Correct.
Dagger might be more your speed.
Yeah, I don't have to cut yourself in order to use it. I don't really know if it's something I would use often.
Seems a bit foul.
The magic is fairly demonic.
Perhaps we could pawn it off to someone. I mean, if none of us are planning to use it. Or maybe it should just be destroyed.
Yeah, I say we hold on to it at least for now.
They just toss it down the mine shaft.
We come back 20 sessions later with our 300 feet of rope.
Yeah.
And we find like 20 copper pieces and the bloodletting dagger.
Yeah, or the rope snaps and somebody kills themselves on that dagger.
Yeah.
Creating like an incredible bonus.
They take 20 d6 plus 1 d4 falling.
That would charge the dagger up quite a bit, I think, if they survive.
And maybe your soul goes straight into the dagger then, and then one of the
It
companions is going to
becomes
be
a sentient dagger of bloodletting.
With my identified, did I learn if I use the dagger and I cut myself with it and then give it to
yes, so you know that the dagger's magic is tied to the blood expended on it. So while it's charged with your blood, it is only magical for the person whose blood matches it. Okay. So if you cut yourself and handed it to Tom, like, that wouldn't do anything for Tom.
See, I can't imagine weakening myself and then trying to get into the midst of battle. But I'll hold on to it for now, so I'll pick it up. Do you have anything else you want to do here?
Rose could, like, turn into a gorilla and then just be a knife-fighting gorilla with it.
My hands would be too big for the dagger, you know? I don't think that.
You spend your temporary HP.
Yeah.
That's not really how it works, because it's based on your hit dice. Or your hit dice, your rest dice. But that's very funny.
Yeah. I think
All
we
right,
just
so
leave the oozes where they are. I don't think
you-
we have to do anything about them. So
It seems like the rest
yeah.
of you are ready to leave the cave here. Sambar reluctantly picks up the now mutilated corpse of his friend, and the rest of your loot and spoils from the cave, and kind of begins marching out wordlessly, with just expecting you all to follow out. Where are the three of you going as you leave this cave? Are you going back up the mountain, or are you heading down into Sarmanath?
How much time do we have left?
Before the ritual? It's you are a few days away from the ritual, essentially. You know from word of mouth that oftentimes druids come to the top of the mountain a few days in advance to be amongst nature and themselves. So you could easily go up there and spend the remaining time with your people. But if you wanted to make your way down to Sarmanath and then back up, you have enough time. You have a matter of days.
I don't think there's any rush. We could just head up to the ritual now, make sure everything goes smoothly.
Confirm with the druids that we completed our task and that they haven't heard of trouble with elementals on the road.
I think I would feel a little bit better if you were around.
Sure, we can go. Although maybe we should rest here for the night and do some last rites for our departed friend here.
Are you going to set her on fire?
Do tieflings burn? Can you cremate them, or do you have to bury them? I don't know.
Chandler says tieflings can burn.
Okay. Well, maybe we should.
No arcana check needed. He's just like, oh yeah, I've done this 100 times.
He has no idea, but he thinks. So he just says, yeah,
Sure, we'll set up a funeral pyre for her then.
Okay. All right, so you spend the last of the afternoon light and early evening setting up a small pyre. Do you do this just right outside the cave entrance?
Yeah. I mean, we cleared it out. Might as well.
Okay. Yeah, so just right outside the cave entrance, where your new druid friend was resting, you begin to pile up some small rocks. There was a handy avalanche just outside that you could pull from, and you create a little ring. Find some scavenging for wood is a little bit harder.
We probably have to go off for that.
Yeah, it takes you some time to go through the mountain and hack down some wood, but you are able to do that. This isn't high enough up the mountain that trees stop growing or anything, and you eventually find enough tinder and wood to set up a nice funeral pyre. You can lay Villith on it, and as you know, the sun sets and the pinks and oranges come across the mountain, going towards nighttime. You set off your funeral fire, which we have had many opportunities to see at this point. Is there any variation in Villith's pyre, or is this very by the book ritual from Tom?
I think it's pretty by the book.
Yeah.
With maybe a comment of like, it'd be nice to get to know some of my companions before they die off.
He says
I'm
to
actually
3 people who have been with him for quite some time.
Well, preferably you won't die off. Please don't take that the wrong way. I feel like
I'm actually,
I feel like there's been reincarnation.
Preferably.
going on here, and one of these souls just keeps departing from our group as soon as it joins.
I'm just gonna say I'm a little bit sad. You know, she was very different. I never really got to talk to her about where she was coming from.
And with that, you have a somber night spent in recollection of your short time spent with Vilith, as her body does eventually burn. You find
I like
that
the idea that it like isn't burning as well as it's supposed to, and the fire's starting to die down. And at some point, like Tom has to kind of scramble and find more wood and kind of pile it up. Have fire resistance. So it's like,
I was going to say it takes a while for the body.
I can't have a half-burned body on this pyre.
It does take a while for Vilith's body to catch. There does seem to be some magical resistance to the flames, but eventually they are consumed in fire, and the night is spent with your heavy hearts, and dawn rises the next day with a now fully rested and refreshed party after their time adventuring. So are you heading up the mountain?
Before we head up,
sure.
I have a question for your holiness.
Yes, I think that's for the head priest, though. You can just call me Tom.
The Father Tom or Brother Tom?
Just Tom. That's too Catholic.
Just Tom. Okay. Well, so how does it work? When we die, right? Our soul leaves the body? What do you believe happens afterwards? Does it, you know, where I come from, we Spriggans, we believe that everything returns to nature. And you're always a part of nature. You're never really lost, you know. And you might not be, you know, a Spriggan again, or a human, but you could also be a tree, or, you know, part of the earth. Mm-hmm. So what is Vilith going to be when she comes back?
Greg, I remember you were talking about there being a god. Like there was a moon god as well as a sun god, and that moon god was more attuned to death?
Yes. So the belief in Sarmanath is that Hala is the goddess that has been tasked. I have a more fancy word for that. She has been tasked for guiding the souls of the dead as they depart. And so the light of the moon, or the goddess herself in corporeal form, or it depends kind of on who you ask and what exactly they believe. But the goddess Hala comes to those who die and guide them to the stars and to the afterlife beyond. And those who are unfortunate enough to miss Hala for whatever reason, whether they have great passions that lead them to ignore her, or they die in a way that she can't get to them, those are the ones that turn into your restless undead and stalk the earth. The followers of Bridges often believe that through the ritual of lighting the funeral pyre, you release the soul from the body towards the heavens and allow them to find Hala most easily. As well as allowing for their ashes to feed the earth and lead the cycle of rebirth. Okay.
I say, well, it's less of a rebirth thing towards in Sarmanath. We believe in Hala, that souls are guided to the stars beyond, and the dead depart from this world. I don't know if Vilith is ever going to come back. I can't say much about what the afterlife is.
Would it make sense, Greg, that Spriggans believe like in a rebirth circle instead of, because I feel like they probably are not very religious in the classical sense, as in, you know, Spriggan clerics with temples. Yeah, no, I think they're more nature-based, you know, like maybe in a pagan way, if they have any kind of religion, but, you know, a very basic one. So
yeah, absolutely.
So if she goes to the stars, does that mean you believe we can see her?
I don't think so. There's a lot of stars in the sky.
Like, just behind them in the direction they aren't looking, like Cloud Gormak and Cloud Vilith, like looking for a rug.
Vilith was only a level 3 rogue. I'm not sure quite how brightly she'll shine in the sky.
Interesting. I'll have to think about that for a little while.
All right. And so with the ponders of your departed sister hanging on your head, you begin making your way back up the mountain. The day is cold as it is changing from fall towards winter. And you begin the steady climb. There's the trails that switch back through the mountains. You do come across the sounds of creatures throughout the day. You hear the cries of eagles, and you see circling larger creatures, almost as if they're four-legged with wings, but they're far enough in the distance they don't seem to bother you as you wind your way through the mountains. Eventually, as you climb up, there is about probably 800 feet to 1,000 feet vertically. You come across an area carved into the mountains where homes, almost like square buildings with doors and windows, are carved into the face of the mountain. And as you approach here, you see large men and women, 8 to 12 feet tall, all very reminiscent of Lion Stalker, wandering through here. Some carrying large beasts on their back. You see one with a dead hippogriff as he walks across. As you've come across the home of the Goliaths here in the Amber Peak.
Didn't Lion Stalker want me to? He mentioned this. He mentioned that his home was here. Did he want me to say hi to somebody, or am I just imagining that?
Seems like if he did, you may have forgotten.
Yeah, I think I forgot.
I feel like he told us that if we reach his people, we got too high, though, didn't we? Didn't he say that his people are...
I don't know. It's only been a few days, but it feels like it's been many weeks.
I think he said that his people were living on the top, and that we wouldn't even get there because we would meet the druids beforehand, so we might have walked past that.
Do you know where we're going, Rose? Because I'll be honest, I've just been kind of walking in a random direction.
So I nimbly approach one of those Goliaths. I'm like, excuse me, sir. Down here.
Welcome.
Hello.
What can I do for you, young lady?
We were... I'm a little lost. We were looking for the druids, but I think this is not the druid village.
No, we are not druids here, for the most part. We have occasional strange ones join the druids. But no, you're linking much higher. They gather on the peak. Are all of you druids?
Oh no, just me.
Well, congratulations. I hear it is some honor. I don't often stop and talk with the druids as they come here. About once a year we see them file on through.
Yeah, it is, the ceremony is coming close, so...
Did you have any trouble with elementals? I hear that they were quite bothersome for some of us down below.
Yeah, we actually took care of the elementals. It was, very dangerous, but I think,
maybe for someone as small as you.
I look at him, I look at my feet, I look at him, I'm like, yeah, I guess.
Well,
I'm going to my initiation, so...
Our village is welcoming to travelers. If you'll excuse me, I have to go about my business. I have a good deal of hunting to do today.
Oh yeah, of course. Thank you.
Pleasure, little lady. And he strides
We still have to go up the hill.
Yes, follow the switchbacks up. You wish to see the peak of the mountain. And he walks his way off.
Do we want to continue today, or did you guys want to rest and go up the next day?
Well, we already rested.
Yeah.
Oh, we did, right?
Yeah.
Next morning?
So let's keep on going.
All right.
All right, and so you spend a small time wandering through this village. You see that they seem to live just in the stone themselves. Many of them covered in furs of creatures that they seem to have killed. You hear the hammers of stoneworking echo through the city. It seems that many of them are craftsmen, along with hunters. Women and men walking around with large animals on their shoulders. Large stones. They have metals and pots that they have crafted and created, and as well you get the smell of like rich stew coming from kind of a central stone building that wafts over you. Eventually you walk through this, leaving behind the abode of the Goliaths, and you begin the climb towards the peak. As you get past the Goliaths, vegetation begins to kind of fall away from the mountain. You see the true kind of amber color of the stone is kind of windswept up here, and kind of shows forth. It's a very, very light amber to the normal gray stone.
Oh man, it's Amber Peak with an A.
Yes.
I thought it was Amber Peak with an E. I was ready for this peak like a volcano or something. Okay, never mind. But I wasn't the only one, right? Because people like this, these are gonna be fire elementals. I was like, sure, Amber Peak makes perfect sense, right?
I have Amber.
Yeah, I've got Amber.
I will try to.
Although I like the thought of Rose just thinking that we're going into like.
Yep, Rose was convinced we're going to Amber Peak with an E. So she's like, oh, we're walking up. She's like, oh, okay.
All relieved. Like there's
Rose,
a sigh from Rose as she realizes it's not a volcano. She's like, oh.
Like the person who's terrified of their party members because there's too much fire is about to walk into a literal inferno.
As you begin walking, it takes you the full day to eventually reach the peak. As you follow these switchbacks, the air is light up here, and as you do, you see kind of a scene in front of you that I guess you would come to expect. The druids are all robed in various colors up here. There are a bunch of hopefuls as well that you see sitting around a natural spring here at the top of the mountain. Next to this spring is a stone altar made of 3 irregular stones, about 5 square feet. The spring seems to be welling up naturally from the mountain, and has some bamboo kind of reeds placed in it to guide the water into a little bit of a pool, giving you kind of a small rushing sound. Some of the robed druids are carefully running their hands around these clay bowls, making a ringing sound kind of come out, and the kind of maybe like if you've listened to Tibetan bowls, that kind of style. As well, there's a bed of smoldering charcoal tended to by another hooded druid in an ocean blue robe. He's placing large sticks of incense on it that swirl around as people are in various states of tending to these things and in general reverence and prayer. As you approach a group of these robed druids of various races. There are a good number of elves you see, but among them there are dwarves and humans and halflings and some of the rarer races as well. Those that come to talk to you greet you and welcome, immediately recognizing Rose. It seems that they knew that you were coming and say, "It is good, sister, that you have come. You are still early. Please rest amongst us as you will." They thank each of you. They go up to Tom to shake your hand, and Janlar as well. Like, it is always good that those who come have support. It is not always easy to come up the mountain, and sometimes it is not easy to, go through the ritual itself. It is an opening experience. Supporters are always welcome among us as well. And they bid you to eat at a small kind of table that has been set up far away from the altar and the bed of coals and the spring. It's off to the side, and there you see an assortment of natural berries and like non-meat vegetarian offerings that have just been placed here, cooked and prepared, it seems, for people to enjoy. As you look across the scene, you do notice that there seems to be someone quite out of place amongst the druids, sitting cross-legged by themselves, away from both the altar and the food, is what appears to be a very decrepit and old person of indeterminate race and gender, wrapped in their cloaks and hoods, but you see just wisps of occasional white hair poking out, and a very ancient look to them as they sit there in quiet contemplation.
I guess I'm gonna ask one of the druids that leads us to the table. I'm gonna say, why is he sitting all by himself over there?
He came here a few days back. It seems he is searching for some he is certain will arrive here. We would not turn him away, but he does not seem to be here for the ritual itself. I do not know what he seeks. You could ask him.
Is he not gonna eat with us?
I have not seen him touch food in some time. Perhaps he has his own?
I'll pick up a plate, I guess, and I'll fill it with some food.
It's not so much a plate as there's like large
like
banana leaves that you can like kind of wrap around in a cone and fill with
I'll do that. I'll fill a cone with food. And then slowly approach the old decrepit person. Hello.
The figure sort of opens their eyes and turns to look at you, and you can see that it's a very, very, very old, balding, like, you would guess probably dwarf, but I don't think Rose has probably ever seen a dwarf that's this old before. He doesn't have a big full beard anymore. It's kind of like starting to get sort of wispy and sort of fall out. But his eyes are alert and a very piercing blue, and he looks at you and says, "Greetings, child. Perhaps you are the ones that I seek."
Oh. Who are you looking for?
I seek a group I was told by my god would approach for this ritual. Are you the ones who set the pyre last night?
I mean, I don't set pyres, but Tom regularly does, I say, pointing into Tom's direction. I'm not very good with fire, you know.
You see Tom, like, harassing one of the druids about if they have any alcohol.
I'm, like, pointing into his direction. I'm like, hey, you want some food? And I hand him, like, the cone.
He looks at it and he takes it and he says, "My appetite is not what it once was, but of course, I appreciate your gesture." And he takes it and he eats it and he says, "Come, let us meet your companions."
Sure. Well, I don't even know. What is your name? I can't I can't introduce you properly if I don't know who you are. I'm Rose, I say, and I give him a hand.
He takes it and does like the sort of low bow and kisses it, and surprisingly for as old as he is, he stands up fairly straight. And he says, "My manners are atrocious. My name is Gorik Gravemantle.
Brave.
I am a cleric of Ungral."
I nod, but I have no idea what that means. I'm like, mm-hmm. I say, I'm a druid. Technically, technically my name is First Light of the Sun on Morning Dew-soaked petals, but and I'm also technically a queen, but Rose is fine. Roses. I'll introduce you. Come over. Maybe we should I now forgot our wizard's name. God damn it, Daniel. What was your wizard's name again?
Janlar.
Yes, Janla. Maybe we should talk to Janla first. I think Tom is kind of busy right now. So.
Yeah,
What do you mean there's no wine?
It is only for sacramental purposes.
Stop holding out on me.
Yeah, you see Janlar just reading a book around the fire.
You for snigging a mule, you.
Right. We approach Jen. I tap Janla carefully on the shoulder and I say, Professor Janla, I would like to introduce you.
Look up to the old dwarven-looking man and say, "Hello, my name is Janlar.
I am Gorik Gravemantle.
Nice to meet you, Gorik. Rose, who is this?"
He says he was waiting for somebody to come up and it might be us.
I am a servant of death. My god.
That second,
Janlar takes
My god told me there was a specter of death upon the group. I have come to see you through this dark shadow.
So, well, we have experienced quite a few losses recently. Thinking back to Gormak and Emily's sadness.
And villain.
But not villain.
Bill was mean to me. Bill was mean to me. He was rude. Just came out talking shit and then. But I understand Gormak. Yeah, I'd say we have lost a few recently.
The pyre last night. It was yours.
I look over at Tom and say, he's a cleric of light. Can't think of the god of light. Hannah?
Jess.
Burgess? Oh. Cleric of Burgess.
A human god. But yes, I am familiar with Burgess.
Yeah, we were burning the body of a lost soul.
As well you should. If you cannot inter them in the halls of their fathers, to send them to the sky is something. It protects them from being raised as the undead, if nothing else.
I'm not one for religion, but Tom seemed to know what he was doing.
Gorik smiles.
Stalking back, grumbling about these stingy druids.
Gorik smiles at you and says, "Or was I once? You have many years left to live, and death is inevitable
Hopefully.
for all who live."
Well, yes, that is how it goes. So, who are you? I don't think we've ever met before.
He nods at you and says, "Lightbringer. I am Gorik Gravemantle, a servant of Ungral."
I'm not sure I've ever heard of Ungral.
The dwarven god of death and legacy.
Let's see. So, Gorik, what brings you all the way up here?
Your group.
Oh.
My god instructed me to wait for a group of individuals. Probably didn't tell me seekers. A group of individuals who were plagued by the shadow of death.
I certainly hope he wasn't telling you to bring that to fruition.
No. The god of death takes who the god of death will, but sometimes interventions are needed. For those
I'm gonna
who
turn
experience
around.
more than their fair share.
and see if anybody's following us. I'm like,
No, you seem to be left alone with this new friend of yours, Goric. All the druids seem to give him a wide berth, and they're going about doing their own preparations and prayers and things for the ritual.
We have seen our fair share of losses.
Interesting that a dwarven god would intervene in our affairs, though.
Death is universal.
This is true. Well, if you want, we can talk about it during the feast. Perhaps we can figure out exactly what it is you need to do. Although I'm not sure if it'll be much of a feast, considering they don't have any alcohol. But
you get a dirty look from the druid you were arguing with as you say that out loud. He just like knife points you.
Goric will sort of look a little bit coyly and tell Tom, did you introduce yourself or just did I just address you as Lightbringer and you did
you introduced me as Lightbringer and I accepted that.
Okay. I'll point at some fruit and I'll be like, if you seek alcohol, those fruits are fermented. If you eat enough of them, you will experience a similar effect, though
that is a lot of work.
As refined as wine.
That is a lot of work.
Tom's too lazy for the fermented fruit approach.
I'm not. No. Look, if I can't put it in a glass and enjoy the experience over the course of about 30 minutes, it's not worth it.
How many fruits can you eat in 30 minutes?
I don't want to find out. It's just not the same. It's hard to explain.
All right. So you have arrived at the top of the Amber Peak, and you have a few days to spend up here amongst the druids. There is a small cave off to the other side of the peak that it seems where a lot of the preparations come from. Occasionally, people bring out foods and stuffs and things of that nature. Tom will be delighted to find that as the sun sets and the colors come forth, that fermented drinks are handed out. Not a great amount of them, but it seems ritualistically the druids do partake in this as the sun sets in the night at times. There's chanting and incense burned and prayers to nature abundant. How do you all spend your next 4 to 5 days here on the peak until ritual starts?
I'm not sure Janlar has much to do outside of town. He has a few books to read, not really a lot of paper to even write with, so he probably just reads through his few books and kind of stays with the druids in the camp.
Are you not at all interested in the scroll tube that you found in the...
Oh yeah, I guess we have that scroll tube. You're right. I forgot all about the fucking...
Sounds like you wanted to read, so yeah.
No, you're right.
It has been a couple weeks for you.
No, yeah, you're right. My bad. Let's see what we had. We found...
Do you want me to just tell you what you found?
No, I got it right here. So we have the globe, the scroll case, and the small crystalline vial of...
Here, I wrote it all down. I can put it in Roll20 for you.
Yeah.
This was everything we got in the cave.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I guess I'll read the scrolls in the scroll case.
All right. You open up the dented and beaten scroll case and find inside of it two separate scrolls, one wrapped inside of the other. You unravel the first one and find that it is written in a slanted hand and very old-timey. It takes you a minute to piece together the letters in the language. It is common, but old. It is a dialect that has changed in the time since it was written. You're not sure exactly how long ago it must have been, but definitely not a common era writing. You spend a few moments with it, and you read through it. You find it is addressed to someone named Kishori. And it says, "It is good to hear that you have located the rift that has been troubling our dwarven allies below. Janlar is busy preparing for the assault on the vanishing stronghold, and is unable to come close to the rift in person. Enclosed are 2 scrolls for your use. The first should bind the rifts in a magic circle until such time the Cabal is free to craft a more permanent solution. The second is a powerful scroll to be used in dire need, should you and your party face overwhelming odds. Please send word when our friends from the Amberstone Hall complete the key. Janlar will need of it before Hilla's full light." And that concludes the message that you're able to read in this. The second paper wrapped inside of the scroll is immediately recognizable to you as written in the words of magic. And it would probably take you some time to read it, as you are not immediately familiar with the spell so inscribed.
Okay. Yeah. Then I guess I have a lot of time, so I would
Sure.
cast detect magic on it and take my time to read
when
it.
you cast detect magic, you will notice that the tube itself radiates magic, as along with the second scroll inside of it. You find that the bullwhip is radiating magic, as well as the crystalline globe. After you spend a few days in contemplation with this scroll, you recognize it as an ancient one and very powerful. You're not entirely certain who made it or what it might be called, but it seems that it has the ability to absorb the power of people that you touch, and increase your physical might as you cast it. You think it's probably well beyond your ability to put in your own spellbook, but seeing as it's a scroll, you believe that you could potentially cast this from the scroll itself. And you would just need some willing targets to increase your own might.
So I think I would just have to touch the target, and I would. Okay.
Casting the scroll. I'll tell you how it works, but I won't tell you what it is exactly. So you cast it, it takes 1 action. You're pretty sure that it is a pretty quick thing. You touch a number of willing targets up to your spell casting modifier. After this spell is cast, all base modifiers to attack rolls and damage from the willing targets are removed from them and given to you for a duration of time. You do feel that there might be some strong drawback to this scroll. You might need to spend some more time studying it, or perhaps give it to somebody with a little more experience, as it is beyond your level. But you do feel like you could potentially cast this.
Okay. Yeah, if we still have more time, I guess I would identify the magic items we found, the bullwhip and the globe.
Sure. You have a number of days to do this. You spend an identification spell, probably helping you with the exact workings of that scroll. You find that the softball-sized globe of crystal is a drift globe with 2 command words. One can activate the daylight spell once per day, and one causes the globe to shine brightly for up to 60 feet. The globe floats about 5 feet above the ground, and if you move more than 60 feet away from it, it will follow to always remain 60 feet away from the person that activated the command word. The bullwhip is a magical +1 whip. You see that it's inscribed with the name Nathaniel on the leather hilt, and you notice that it grants a +1 to hit and damage. And as a bonus action, you can deal D4 +1 damage to a creature within 5 feet of you. And you grant that creature an additional D8 towards an attack roll, skill check, or saving throw of its choice until the beginning of your next turn.
Okay.
Wait, so that you can whip an ally into shape, essentially?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
You still deal damage to them?
Yes.
Does it add your dexterity bonus as well, or just a D4 +1?
It does a D4 +1 for the bonus action. The potion you spend some time with and quaff just a little bit of it, get a taste, and you identify the potion as that of a potion of flying.
Nice. All right. Yeah. I guess with the time that we have here, at some point I'll go over to Tom and Faye and explain it, and Sandbar.
Yeah, so Janlar spent his time identifying these magical items and informing you all about it. Do any of you have anything that you're doing before the ritual here? How are you spending your time?
I think Tom is talking to Goric and kind of figuring out the details of what's going on here.
Goric is probably counseling Sambar, who needs a little bit of...
Sambar definitely needs some,
you want to
help
talk
with,
about
with
it?
death. Yes, Sambar is talking to you about the death of his friend and the savage nature of the wizard that deformed her and took her horn, and yeah, just he needs a little counseling for sure.
Yeah, Goric is being that wise old person that Sambar can vent to, and
venting is going on, absolutely. All right. I guess that means that the days pass, and the ritual day is upon us. The beginning of the day passes fairly normally, but you are informed that at sunset it will begin. And I think we should probably take our first break right before we get into this. We've hit about an hour of gameplay. We will come back with the beginning of the Druidic initiation. Try to be back in about 5 minutes. Does that sound good? Alrighty, we'll see y'all then. Peace.